Hey there, welcome to day 14 of 30 Days of Essential Oils. My name is Tammy Davis. I'm your mentor and guide, as well as your neighborhood alchemist. For those of you who are new, thank you very much for tuning in. For those of you who have been with me, thank you very much. For those of you who have fallen off, I apologize for what may not have been said or what was said. And that goes out to anybody who is watching this. If you ever have any questions about what it is I'm saying and why I'm saying it, by all means, let me know. My whole intention here is to really educate. My intention is to uplift our experience with essential oils. And after 30 years of working with them, over 30 years now, and having a background in pharmacology, as well as studying plant constituents and their relation to human health and drug development, I feel pretty qualified. And I understand that, before we go any further here, if you haven't seen any of the other videos, which this is the second segment. The first one was 31 days of essential oils, and now we have 30 days. But just keep in mind, these are not videos about things that you're going to find in books and other websites. These are my experiences with the oils and my insights with regards to introducing oils, integrating oils, and so forth. Pardon my dogs. So yeah, I just want to be upfront about that. And maybe I didn't, and I thought I had been, but if that was kind of a misunderstanding or something that somebody didn't, I guess, understand from the very beginning, that's really what this is about. This is not anything you're going to find anywhere else. There may be some overlap, and at the same time, more than likely not. Because oils are chemicals, and the environment communicates, nature communicates with chemicals, lipophilic chemicals to be more specific, and essential oils are lipophilic chemicals. That means they have the ability to influence genetic activity. The epigenome adapts according to the organism's needs in the moment, and it's unique to you as it is to me, because our mind and our emotions are very different. As we may be being exposed to some of the same environmental issues, and at the same time we also have different personal care products. I saw actually a meme today on Instagram that said it takes 26 seconds for the body to absorb chemicals this is with regards to cosmetics. I don't know how accurate that is, but what I can tell you is that you apply essential oils to the skin and it will be assimilated through the skin into the bloodstream, and within 20 to 30 minutes be fully metabolized throughout the system. So when we're thinking about other chemicals, we have to keep in mind that these all interact, and that is the point to the work that I do. Now, these are being followed up with blog posts, and because I'm putting out these videos faster than I can get the blogs done, please know that everything is coming in time. You can find every one of these on Synergessence.com. I also have an ultimate guide, which kind of gets into other aspects of what I'm talking about here. And those blogs actually go into a little bit further, breaking down the chemistry of the oils and how they work within the body, as well as referencing, again, their synergy, which is a lot of what I talk about here too. So there's some overlap between the blogs and the videos, but I do try to keep them distinctly different so that you get as much information as possible from both locations. As far as synergy is concerned, and I was mentioning that I study plant constituents and how they affect the human body. That's a single constituent, and this is a lot of what science is doing. It's researching single constituents and then attempting to replicate these in labs. They're being used for flavors and fragrances, of course, and then there's some of them that get turned into medications, kind of like CBD and THC. The challenge that we face, though, is that just because we recognize the path of a particular constituent does not make it an absolute, because you've got other chemicals involved. And that includes, so that's just of the oil itself. And then you also have what other medications and supplements you may be taking in addition to your personal care products. So there's a lot, and I don't mean to overcomplicate anything, and this is part of the reason why, if we learn how to use oils on a daily basis and how to integrate them safely with our medications, which is what a lot of what I teach in aromatherapy is a lifestyle, which is a closed Facebook group And that's only closed because I just don't want the material searchable on the internet, or as best as possible. So please feel free to request to join that group, and you can access all of that information there as well. But there's a synergy that defines the way the oil ultimately affects the individual, and then even then that remains unpredictable because each body is different. So we have to take all of this into consideration, learn how to integrate oils, in some cases as personal care products, because we truthfully don't need all these chemicals. And if there's some way that we can eliminate some of these man-made chemicals, that's all the better for us. So on that note, today I want to talk about marjoram Spanish. And the first thing I want to say about marjoram Spanish is it has made my safe list, and by the skin of its teeth. It's a pretty small margin as to why it even made it in there. Again, I rely heavily on the synergy of the oil. And the reason I'm saying this is because it does contain a small amount of limonene. Now, the interesting thing is when you talk to people, or some people who are involved with aromatherapy, they'll tell you that the first 2 or 3 constituents really define the properties of an oil, and I beg to differ, because every role is important. Every constituent is important. That's what plays into the synergy. So we can't just say it's the top 3. It's all of them. So even though that limonene is, there's a small amount of it, right around 1%, depending on where you get it from, where it's grown, and so forth, there's going to be a synergistic effect. Now, my concern with limonene is the fact that it does conflict with antidepressants. And Marjoram Sweet is very fundamental on the brain chemistry, the neurochemistry. And so I would suggest starting with small amounts. If you are taking an antidepressant, I would certainly use this in very small amounts to see how you react. I've used Marjoram Sweet in the sense of throughout the day. I'll say that, where people may be having trouble sleeping, and so helping to really help regulate the autonomic nervous system, so that when it comes time to sleep, there's an easier transition into the nighttime relaxation. That is one very beneficial thing to it. It's a super oil for helping to clarify the third eye. If there is some dizziness, lightheadedness, vertigo, Marjoram Spanish, truthfully, is another one that's probably better for vertigo. And at the same time, you can get away with using some of this for that. I do really, really suggest it as well for digestion, because again, number one, it helps to regulate the autonomic nervous system, and it's very calming to the abdominal or the GI tract. I just say it like that. So it means if you have like IBS, it really kind of helps to regulate that. That's the reason why I'm throwing out that caution one more time, just because of the trace amount of limonene in it, because serotonin, which is it's a common neurotransmitter that we relate to when it comes to depression, is also required for bowel movements. And so the impact that Marjoram Sweet would have on the serotonin levels is significant. And so I would definitely say, in this case, using less of this oil when antidepressants are being taken is probably a better idea. Let me think if there's anything else. It's actually really, I guess muscle spasms would be, and hormonal, again, it's very good for brain chemistry. So, menopause, thinking along those lines, because it really helps to reduce agitation to the system. And anxiety would be another good one. I don't necessarily say to use it in the form of like if you're as a way of feeling uplifted, but it could very well, again, anxiety and depression, they are mostly the same. It just depends on how we are responding to those emotions that kind of takes us in either direction of diagnosis. So marjoram Spanish is really just a very nice oil overall for helping to kind of regulate brain chemistry, and this is the reason why it's so impactful on the digestive system as well as relaxing the entire body. And these are the focuses that I would really like to use it on, or that I have really used it with. And again, for anybody who's experiencing lightheadedness or dizziness, this is all brain chemistry. So kind of helping to, I don't want to say it doesn't ground you, but it just kind of helps to clear your head, because the dizziness and the lightheadedness tend to come from when we're feeling overwhelmed and confused. So again, it's not about grounding. And if you were to actually blend this with vetiver, especially with children, the combination would be really very nice for something like ADHD. Because there you go, you're actually grounding, and you're also kind of helping to clear the mind. So that would be another exceptional use for this oil, especially when you blend it. On its own, kind of, sort of, but when you blend it, definitely. So let me think if there's anything else. That's pretty much where I want to leave it with Marjoram Sweet. Yeah, I would just say just use it for that. Sorry, I kind of got a little, I always feel like I do these things too short, and maybe I should add more to it. And then I stop and tell myself, well, if there's more, then I'll just throw it into the blog. But I want to make sure that how I want to underscore all of this is that marjoram Spanish is exceptional oil for helping to kind of regulate brain chemistry, which is impactful for the entire body. So the overall effect that Marjoram Sweet has, and it may not necessarily be an immediate symptom relief, it will actually promote an overall better sense of well-being. The longer you use it, the more you use it on a regular basis, the more consistently you use it, I'll say it that way. And but again, brain chemistry, gut, of course, that all supports the immune system as well. We don't necessarily, I have not used marjoram Sweet for any sort of microbial infection at all. I know that there's some people out there that will talk about it along those lines, and I'm sure that it absolutely does have that degree of use. And if that's where you find that benefit, then by all means. But please keep in mind that the whole purpose to this particular oil really is about helping to regulate the brain chemistry, because then the body can, at that point, do what it's wired to do, and that is to take care of you. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Please let me know if you have any questions. By all means, if there's something I say that you don't like or you don't agree with, or you have questions about, don't hesitate to contact me. You're welcome to email me, Tammy@Synergessence.com. All I'm going to say is please don't attack me. This is my life's work. These are my interpretations based off my research, which has been rather extensive. I am internationally certified as an aromatherapist, as a master clinical aromatherapist. I do have an education, like I said, in pharmacology as well as the science of nutrition. So this comes to you through the extensive research that I do. So if there's questions you have, feel free to ask. I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter, because in the newsletter I'm actually doing an exclusive round of pairings, and which only comes out once a month, pairings of oils and adaptogen herbs or superfoods. So kind of starting to do that. That's taking off. And as I mentioned, aromatherapy is a lifestyle in the group. So let me know. You guys take care, and until tomorrow, which is day 15, and we're halfway through. Holy cow.